Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So there have been a lot of rumors flying around about stuff going on Arrow, new villains coming in at the end of the season, characters dying. So I thought it was really relevant to do a Batman Death in the Family explainer video. So this is primarily going to be Batman Death in the Family from the comics, and then I'll explain how I think that Arrow might be adapting some of that. So here we go, Batman Death in the Family, careful for spoilers. Definitely one of the top 10 Batman stories of all time. Maybe not one of the top 5, but definitely one of the top 10. It was written by Jim Starlin, same guy who created this guy, Thanos, Infinity Saga, all that awesome Avengers stuff we were talking about earlier today. What happened is in the late 80s, DC wanted to bring in a new Robin, and they had just gotten done with a bunch of Frank Miller runs that went on to be recognized as some of the best Batman stories of all time. I mean, Frank Miller, one of the best comic book writers of all time. So naturally, when he writes a Batman story, it's going to be one of the top 5. So 1980s in general, just defined by Frank Miller's tone, his dark, gritty Batman tone. That started with Dark Knight Returns. He wrote that in 1986. Zack Snyder worked with Frank Miller a lot on a lot of his movies, is adapting portions of that for Batman v Superman. The year after he did that, in 1987, he did Batman Year One. So right away, two of the best Batman stories of all time. Then after that came Son of the Demon, that storyline where Batman learned he had a love child with Talia al Ghul. Be sure to open a tab for Lazarus Pit. It's going to be important for later. So 3 big WTFs in a row. How the hell do you follow that up? The short answer is that you can't follow that, but Jim Starlin came close. He killed Robin. On the list of WTF moments that you can give characters, there are really only a few trump cards. 1, you kill them, like Death of Superman or Bane breaking Batman's back in Nightfall. Or 2, you kill someone they love, someone innocent that they were supposed to protect. Enter Jason Todd. The Death in the Family storyline starts out with Jason Todd trying to track down his real-life mother. He learns that the woman he thinks is his mother isn't his biological mother. He and Batman go all over the world trying to find her, end up tracking her down to an aid station in Ethiopia, working as a doctor. Turns out she had fled the United States years ago because she'd been performing illegal abortions on teenagers, and one of them died on the table. So she got blacklisted, wanted to escape her past, so she fled to Ethiopia. It's only implied that she was performing abortions. The comic said illegal operations, so it could have been something more sinister, because we learned that Jason Todd's mother was a little bit shady. Eventually, Jason Todd tracks his mother down, but finds out that the Joker had found her first and has been blackmailing her into this big plot to try and create this giant laughing gas bomb. We also learned that his mother's been embezzling funds. In order to cover it up, she hands him over to the Joker. Your own mother handing you over to Batman's worst villain. Things go from bad to worse, as you can imagine. The Joker wants to set off a giant dirty bomb of laughing gas, so in order to cover his tracks, he ties up Jason and his mother, leaves them, and sets a bomb off. It's actually kind of worse than that. Whenever his mother handed him over to the Joker, she watched as he mercilessly beat him bloody with a crowbar. Remember, this is the 1980s, we're following Frank Miller, so we have to make it really bloody, really dark. We don't want people to fall asleep while they're reading this comic. Batman learns what's going on, rushes in, but gets there too late. He learns that even though his mother betrayed him, Jason died trying to save her. This sets the stage for Tim Drake to become the new Robin. He and Nightwing decide that Batman always needs a Robin, so he becomes the new one. So it was this big WTF comic book event that made everybody crap their pants and allowed DC to bring in a new Robin character. Already, I'm sure you guys are feeling really good about all those Arrow rumors now. So what does all of this Death in the Family stuff have to do with Arrow Season 3? Let's look at some really ominous evidence. Both Stephen Amell and Colton Haynes posted a bunch of ominous stuff while they were filming episode 19, titled Broken Arrow. That title sounds really creepy already. Somebody on Team Arrow could end up broken. Team Arrow itself could break apart. It could mean a number of things. But let's look at these messages. It started with this picture of Oliver Roy and Black Canary on a rooftop, with the note saying that this was just the last time something was happening, like the last time ever. That also could mean a lot of things, like the last time they all work together as a team, the last time they all wear those costumes, like people could be getting costume upgrades, or it could be the last time they're working with one of the actors. And just for some added context, the person taking the picture, who you don't see, is Paul Blackthorne, who plays Quentin. So that's just the beginning. Then other people started posting some stuff. Colton Haynes posted this sad face picture with Emily Bent. Apparently, she came over to cheer him up. He was down in the dumps. Not only is she really awesome, but why is he so sad all of a sudden? Then Stephen Amell posted this tweet about saying goodbyes, like final goodbyes. Colton also posted something similar about doing really difficult emotional scenes. Definitely a tone of finality in the way that they're talking about this, whatever it is that they've been doing. So that does not confirm that anyone is dying. That doesn't necessarily mean anyone's dying. It just means the Team Arrow is going to be changing significantly before the end of the season and going into season 4. Why do things have to change, you scream? I'm sure you're all screaming right now. Mostly so the narrative can stay interesting. Like, their number one goal is just to make interesting TV. From a practical perspective, Team Arrow always brings in new characters every year, and in order to make room, they have to get rid of the old ones. Characters have to leave, like Ray Palmer going off on a spin-off show, and characters have to die, like Sarah. Laurel got her spot in the Arrow Cave because Sarah died. Otherwise, she would not have become Black Canary. So old characters make way for new characters in various ways. Let's wait to talk about Caity Lotz going on the spin-off show. That's like a whole other story. They still haven't explained how she's coming back to life. Regardless of all the extra stuff, something is probably happening to Roy that will inspire Thea to take the Speedy mantle, even though Oliver totally calls her that all the time already. In really happy news, Willa Holland posted this picture of her being fitted for her Mia Dearden, aka Speedy mask. So let there be no question as to which character that she's going to be from the comics. DC Comics themselves even posted on their website she's going to be Speedy. So she'll be wearing this mask sometime before the finale. Remember last year, Roy got his costume before the finale too. Batman always needs a Robin. Thematically, I think it just works better if Roy dies and Thea takes the mantle. Yeah, it's really sad. It's a huge bummer. But there are negative consequences to the choices that the characters have made this year. Mark Guggenheim said that the show would address some of the negative consequences of really bad judgment calls that the characters have made this year. And what is a worse consequence than one of your friends dying? There have been some leaked pictures of Roy wearing Oliver's arrow suit. I can't post them just for copyright reasons. But in the teaser for episode 16, Ra's al Ghul says, "The city will turn on you," talking to Oliver. The big villain in episode 19 is someone named Deathbolt. He's being played by Doug Jones. He played Abe Sapien in Hellboy, if you guys don't remember. He's a pretty big deal, so he could be the one to kill Roy while he's wearing Oliver's costume, thinking that he is Oliver. Just to be clear, that is all speculation. That doesn't mean that anyone's dying. And if Roy does die, just remember what happened to Jason Todd in the comics. He came back, he was resurrected as the Red Hood. So Roy could always come back in some weird twist, some story explanation. There's no such thing as final death in the comics. Caity Lotz is the best example of that. So it's always possible that Roy could go off on the spin-off show, on the All-Star Team-Up show, or he could just be leaving the show because the actor wants to leave the show. Or it could be a totally different character. It could be Quentin who's in trouble. Here's my big question for you guys. Given that Mark Guggenheim has said that they're going to have crazy WTFs way crazier than Oliver being killed and brought back to life, do you feel like all this evidence is pointing to them doing a death in the family type moment? Or do you think it's all a misdirect? Speaking of misdirects, let's talk Lazarus Pit. The producers have not explained WTF is going on with Caity Lotz coming back for the All-Star spinoff. I don't know what the title is yet. I'm just going to call it All Stars, just because Justice Society feels like it's a little out of bounds. All-Star Flaro. I would laugh so hard if they named it All-Star Flaro. There's no way they're going to do that, but they could be bringing her back, bringing Sarah back in a finale Lazarus Pit WTF moment. That kind of sounds like the topic of another bonus video, so why don't I do that next week? I'll do a Black Canary, Caity Lotz, Lazarus Pit video. Be sure to subscribe to get that. I kind of want to do a Flash video tomorrow, so I'm going to push more Arrow stuff the next week. While you guys wait for that Flash stuff, you can click here to rewatch the Avengers trailer a billion more times. It's so amazing. Just watch the vision over and over and over. And you can click here to learn more about the Arrow Flash spinoff. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's all do the thing.